This is Yair Pinto coming to you with another update of the war between Iran, Israel, and the United States of America. And the biggest question of all is, was the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, eliminated? Was the commander of the Revolutionary Guards in Iran terminated as well in the Israeli-American preemptive strike against the Revolutionary Guards in Iran? Massive drama is unfolding. The assessment is growing. Ali Khamenei was hit and terminated in Tehran. After the execution of a wide-scale attack in Iran, countless reports are coming in regarding the regime's condition, regarding the targets that were struck, and of course, the threats from Iran have begun to arrive. This is with some of the reports speaking about a strike on the Supreme Leader and the Iranian president here on Boots on the Ground. We are already bringing you all of the details. I'm Yair Pinto. With me is Shoshani, and we are Boots on the Ground live now with all the details. President Donald Trump of the United States announced, "We launched an attack on Iran. We will destroy their missiles." The President of the United States referred this morning to the military operation that the Americans launched together with Israel in Iran. "We will ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon." It is important to understand Khamenei and Iran's President Pezeshkian were amongst the targets for the strike. And assessments in Israel say that the commander of the Revolutionary Guards was terminated in this strike. A senior American official stated that the United States and Israel coordinated the opening strike, and this is only the beginning. In Israel, they revealed the deception against Iran. The strike came as a surprise. And as I'm speaking to you now, we hear sirens alarms of incoming missiles coming our way. This gives us a few minutes before the wider sirens will start in the area. So they revealed the deception against Iran. The strike came as a surprise. And in the IDF waited for senior regime officials to convene, to meet together. And we will bring you the behind the scenes of this attack against Iran. Khamenei's compound was destroyed. It is not known what became of him, but we have a report that he was hit in the strike, but they're not confirmed yet. In Israel, the officials confirmed that Ali Khamenei was amongst those targets of the strike, and Iran issued a direct threat towards Israel and towards the United States of America. There are no red lines. After the threat towards Israel, Iran, in an unusual notice to its residents, flee this area. So the Gulf states are preparing for the worst. Iran launched an unrestrained missile attack, and it seems that Israel and the Air Force feels at home in Tehran. The sequence of strikes continue in the western Iran side. The combined operation, the event will continue for at least a week, while all eyes are on Iran. And Israel is preparing on the Lebanese border, on the northern part of the country. And the city of Tehran cheered and rejoiced. Footage from Tehran shows the reaction of the Iranian people to the dramatic strike. So, I'm Yair Pinto, and this is Boots on the Ground live, bringing you all the updates on what's happening in the Middle East. Operation Roar of the Lion set out on its way in a combined attack on day 10 of Trump's deadline. Israel and the United States began this morning with a preemptive strike on Iran. The campaign is the result of a severe strategic and diplomatic failure by the Iranian leadership, which misjudged President Trump's patience. Iran finds itself in an unprecedented situation in the face of close cooperation between the IDF and the United States, while it is isolated in terms of the Shiite axis and may also lose the quiet support of the Gulf states due to attacks on American bases on their territory. In the IDF, they clarified that the goal of the operation in Iran is to strike the regime and remove the existential threat over Israel, in full cooperation with the United States. And at the same time, tens of thousands of reservists were mobilized and forces were reinforced across all sectors. So, how did the strike begin? Months of precise intelligence collection, full coordination between Israel and the United States, and the building of a detailed target bank enabled the opening blow. The IDF opened another wave of strikes in western Iran in an attempt to reduce missile launchers towards Israel. Iran announced that it launched Operation True Promise Full and attacked bases in Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and the Emiratis. And Foreign Minister Arakshi of Iran to the Gulf states stated, "Do not allow your territories to be exploited." Explosions were heard in Dubai and in Abu Dhabi. An Asian civilian was unalived by shrapnel. It is our right to respond. That is the statement. And in Iraq, 3 unalived at the headquarters of the pro-Iranian militias. The Houthis threatened to strike the Red Sea. And the assessment in Israel is that the commander of the Revolutionary Guards was eliminated, who entered the role as a lion. This is what the statement said in Israel. And Muhammad Pakpour entered his role in place of Hussein Salami, who was eliminated in Operation Am Kilavi. And according to the assessments in Israel, he was terminated in the opening blow. So in Iran, they deny it, but a source close to the regime told Reuters several senior commanders and political figures were terminated. And Israeli sources state Ali Largiani was also in the crosshairs. Mati Shoshani, our senior correspondent for Middle East affairs, is with us. So Mati, we both know that this is history live, but do you think there was success in eliminating the supreme ruler of the Revolutionary Guards in Iran, Ali Khamenei? Mati, where are you coming to us from? I cannot hear you. Okay, I can hear you now.
I'm on mute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I said I'm back in Judea and Samaria after a week and a half off from reserves. Wasn't expecting to be back this fast. Like you said, this is a very, very unique day that we're living in. I started this day early in the morning, biking in the Judean desert, only to watch Israeli Air Force planes flying over and to see the first barrage of missiles come from Iran. Since then, I've been called back into reserves, as have many in Israeli society. But the important point here is the history that's happening. You asked the question about the Supreme Leader of Iran. We're not sure, and I doubt we're going to be sure anytime soon what exactly happened. He could be in hiding, he could be injured. It'll take a while to see a clear picture. I think you hit the nail on the head with the initial description. The accuracy of that morning's attack, or this morning's attack, is the main thing here. We started out the morning with a pinpoint attack on the ballistic missile launchers, many of them. We've seen the footage of it. With a pinpoint attack on many of the IRGC facilities in Tehran and various facilities around Iran. In additional strikes on the nuclear facilities that the Iranians were trying to rebuild and restore, and then intercepted multiple waves of Iranian ballistic missiles. And we're not doing this alone, and this is the key point here. Unlike in Operation Rising Lion or Midnight Hammer back in the June of 2025, this is a different story. Here we're working hand in hand with the Americans. The target bank is absolutely accurate, is very, very well built, and includes slowly dismantling the air defenses that the Iranians hold, followed by the strategic positions, and very importantly, as we did back in Rising Lion back in the June of 2025, is eliminating the leadership of both the IRGC, the religious leadership of the Ayatollah regime, and some of the key facilities and figures in their army. And that's really where we are right now. We've been anticipating a much more substantial and robust Iranian response, and it hasn't come. We've heard the alarms even just a minute ago, time and time again, but the very few missiles that are making it through are being intercepted by Israel. And what's abnormal here, what's different here, is the Iranians are really trying to poke their neighbors in the eye. The UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, multiple countries that they're firing at, and they've tried to do it several times with very limited success. This really shows you they're going all out in this attempt, in this campaign. But my sense is that Israel and the United States have done their homework in a degree that the Iranians were not expecting, in really eliminating a very large number. The number the Israeli Air Force quoted a couple hours ago was hundreds of targets in the first 2 waves. That's just the Israeli Air Force, not accounting for the very substantial forces and targets that the American forces destroyed and eliminated. That's really where we are right now. I'm back in reserve. Our country is on incredibly high alert, waiting to see how this develops, how this night looks. But again, we've shown our supremacy in the air, We've shown our supremacy when it comes to intelligence, and we've shown the level of cooperation, the close ties between the Israeli forces and the American forces. And my expectation is we're going to see more and more of that. And the most important thing here, the biggest point, is removing and eliminating the Ayatollah regime of Iran. These are the religious clerics that took over in 1979 and have been holding that country hostage since then. These people deserve something else. They deserve a better regime. They deserve freedom. They deserve to be removed from the scorn, the punishment of this radical Ayatollah regime. And this is the only way it's going to happen. President Trump, we were reading that earlier today in this morning's live, before I was called into reserves. He says to the Iranian people, I'm doing this for you. Netanyahu said the same thing in different words in the past. We're doing this for the Iranian people. They're not our enemy. The Ayatollah regime is our enemy, and we're coming for the Ayatollah regime. And tomorrow morning, or maybe the next day when they wake up, this is the best chance the Iranian people have had at removing that regime in a very, very long time. And that is something I don't think we can undermine or overexpress the importance of ever. We're watching history unfold in front of our eyes, and this is significant on so many levels: spiritual level, on a philosophical level, on a geopolitical level, on a world history level. We are watching that history unfold, and we get to sit in the front seat here in Israel and see how Israel and the forces of good, the Judeo-Christian alliance of Israel, the United States, and others who are helping, is able to push back on this evil force that is the Iranian regime. How are things over with you, Yair? Is it quiet, or are there more alarms in your area?
Well, we just received a notice in our phones a few minutes ago that an incoming missile is on its way, and we should stay close to protected areas. That's why I know that I'm outside and I'm with a protective vest, because I know that I will keep reporting even if the sirens are here. So it makes my wife a little bit more happy that I'm standing here. But this is the situation, and the reports that we are receiving are that this will last multiple days. We do not have
Yair,
official
can you hear that behind
confirmation.
me? I
I
want to
can
say
hear
this.
that also here. I can hear that also
Okay.
here.
So
Where I'm at.
we're separated by quite a distance, but the air is full of the crackling, the popping sound of the Iron Dome intercepts and the David Sling and Arrow intercepts. And I want to say this again. We can't see it because there's still light outside, but once the dark comes down, and assuming there'll still be more rockets coming down, you can hear first the intercepts and see them outside of the atmosphere in low orbit over Earth. So ballistic missiles go out, then they come back in. They're intercepted there. You hear about 3 minutes later, I think something like that, you hear the explosion sound that's outside or at the edges of the atmosphere. And then there's a secondary intercept from Iron Dome. Right now, what we're hearing is that crack and pop sound that's way, way up in the sky. If it was dark, we'd probably be seeing the flashes of it, or would have saw the flashes, but now it's coming down. And I think it's nothing short of incredible that we get to stand here, Yair, me and you, without any concern to our safety, just because of that technology that protects us. Incredibly impressive.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Israel and the IDF has proven that the anti-defensive, anti-rocket defensive systems are operational at even bigger and higher interception rates than what we heard before. And this is also showing to the whole world that we are here to stay, and Israel is investing in these technologies and also now exporting them to our allies around the world to protect them against future rockets and attacks. This is what's happening now. Mati, I know that you are in reserve duty, and you have to go and to
Get back to work.
continue. Yeah, go back to your soldiers. Thank you for your service, Mati, and
Thank
we'll
you,
have you
Yael.
back very soon.
And I want to say thank you to everyone who's praying for us and supporting what we're doing. We deeply, deeply appreciate the love that we've been hearing. As I'm standing here, my phone keeps exploding with messages from people around the world, just reminding us how much people around the world care and love for the people of Israel. And it touches our heart to know that. It truly blesses us to hear those messages. So thank you, everyone out in the cybersphere who are messaging us and supporting us. And keep praying for Israel. Keep praying for our fighters, our people, the American aircraft, the American vessels, the American fighters who are in this region, fighting for freedom, fighting for the right thing, which is exactly what we need to do. Now back to you, Yael.
So thank you, Mati. And now I want to bring you all the details of what happened from this morning until this moment that we're coming to you live now. And we want to hear from you. So we want to hear where you're coming from, what do you want us to report on. We want to hear your prayers. So if you want to send us your love and your support, you can send an email to standwithisrael@tbn.tv. Again, that's standwithisrael@tbn.tv. So we will read every one of these emails, and it really encourages us to hear that you are standing with us. So let's continue to spread the truth, share, follow us, and most importantly, do not forget to press that subscribe button here on YouTube so that you keep receiving daily boots on the ground updates for me, Yair Pinto, and Mati Shoshani. And we're bringing you everything that's happening from the ground here in Israel, from this region, to you. So sirens are rising now in another wave, and launches have been identified from Iran towards Israel. And at the same time, the Air Force continues striking in western Iran to reduce the Ayatollah regime ability to launch more missiles, while the campaign is also expanding to the Gulf with explosions and reports of hits on American bases. This is the most live event in these hours that is an ongoing combined strike and a broad Iranian response on several fronts. And the sharp question is one, why now? And what is the risk that tonight opens a week of full regional escalation? So, I'm Yair Pinto, and this is Boots on the Ground live with Mati Shoshani, and we are connecting you to everything that we know right now about Operation Lion's Roar. From the first second, who was in the crosshairs, who was terminated, according to all the assessments and all the reports that we have, what is still not confirmed, and how Iran is responding. The story begins with a political moment that broke. The talks, the negotiations collapsed. And on a clear morning, during the month of Ramadan, an opening blow that had been planned for months today was carried out. And according to a description that surfaced in several places, this was not another night of strikes. The decision was specifically in the morning to achieve tactical surprise. This is despite heavy Iranian readiness. Behind the scenes, a long operational plan was built with a forced intelligence effort to identify one window, a moment when senior political and security leadership and figures convened together at defined sites all across Tehran, the capital of Iran. The moment that that window opened, the operation began. The strike was carried out simultaneously at several locations in Tehran, not one point, several points altogether, and the focus was not only the infrastructure. According to the assessments in Israel, the first targets also included senior figures. In the crosshairs, according to those reports, were the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian. In addition, other names were reported as targets, like Ali Shamkhani, a senior advisor to Khamenei and Supreme Leader, and someone who also holds a senior role in the National Defensive Council that was established after the previous campaign, and also Ali Larijani, who is mentioned as a possible target or as part of the list. And here, we need to be precise. Regarding Khamenei's fate, there is no certainty as of now. We are not sure because on the one hand, Iran claims that he is safe and sound, and that a series of other senior figures are also safe and sound. On the other hand, a scenario that is being examined in Israel appeared, according to which a secure compound in Tehran, which typically serves as his residence and a central housing location for senior officials, surfaced very extensive damage in the early strikes. In this scenario, it is said that if Khamenei was there at the point of the strike, it is possible that he was buried under the rubble, and it is not certain if he survived. This is only a scenario. It's not confirmed, and we are not certain that this is what is happening now. But it's not a determination. And opposite it stands the Iranian denials. And at the same time, also another report according to which Khamenei was moved from place to secure and to a secret location. He's not staying in Tehran at these hours. These two lines are running in parallel. And the bottom line right now is one: the drama is enormous, but there is still no final confirmation. In contrast, regarding the top of the Revolutionary Guard, there is a clearer assessment on the Israeli side. In Israel, they assessed that the commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guards, General Muhammad Pakpour, was terminated already in the opening blow. Pakpour entered his role in place of the previous commander, Hussein Salami, who was eliminated in the past as part of another operation. In Iran, they deny this as well and say, don't pay attention to rumors. But at the same time, another report appeared from an Iranian source close to the regime, according to which several senior commanders in the Revolutionary Guards and also political figures were terminated in the strikes. Meaning, even when there is no official signature on one specific name, there is an indirect admission that there is high-level damage at the senior tier. What was the objective of the operation as conveyed to the Israeli side? The objective was a significant strike against the regime and the removal of existential threat over Israel in full cooperation with the United States of America. It was also said that the goal is to strike the regime's foundational pillars and create an infrastructure that will undermine its stability. And in other words, not just one blow and we're done, but a campaign that is aimed broadly. And as part of the preparations, tens of thousands of reservists, IDF soldiers, were mobilized from their civilian lives back into service, into the IDF. The number given is about 70,000. This is to the combat brigades, to the Air Force, to the Navy, and to the Home Front Command. And at the same time, forces were reinforced across all sectors. Situation rooms were established. Defensive units in communities along the fence were activated. And also patrol and security forces were reinforced in depth. And on the operational side, there is also an important point here. This is not only an Israeli action. They describe the division of arenas between Israel and the United States, both geographically and in flight coordination. It was said that every pilot and every aircraft knew exactly where it was flying and whom it was supposed to hit. Those mentioned as leading the coalition and the efforts are military intelligence and also the Israeli Mossad, with full coordination and transparency, sharing intelligence between the two sides. The strikes, according to this description, also include headquarters and operations rooms of all Iranian security operations and organizations. And after the opening blow, the second stage arrived. Almost immediately, a focus on the western Iranian area against the ballistic missiles array and the launchers. This is an ongoing wave of strikes with dozens of aircrafts attacking in order to disrupt the ability to launch an attack against Israel and to reduce the pace of the barrages against our citizens here. And this connects to what is happening at home. Alerts were activated in various areas. It was emphasized that the defense is not hermetic. And at this pace, there are also clear instructions not to publish impact locations and documentations in real time. The reports speak of dozens of interceptions, while additional launches were identified again and again, and the public was asked to enter protected spaces and remain until further notice. And then comes the Iranian response, and it does not remain only against Israel. Iran announced that it launched Operation True Promise number 4 and began a large-scale mission, a missile and also drone attack. And according to the statements and the details that were given, it attacked bases in Qatar, in Kuwait, in Bahrain, and in the United Arab Emirates. In Bahrain, there was a report of a hit on a compound that was identified with the headquarters of the United States Fifth Fleet, and smoke was seen in the area of the Jufair base. In the United Arab Emirates, there were reports of missiles that are being intercepted, and of one fatality in Abu Dhabi. An Asian civilian was unalived by shrapnel. And according to the report there was a direct hit. So explosions were also heard in Dubai and in Abu Dhabi, and in some cases residents were instructed to stay away from windows and to enter secured buildings. And at the same time, Jordan also enters the picture. The Jordanian army announced that it intercepted ballistic missiles, and in Jordan they clarified that it will not be a party to regional escalation and will not allow harm to their sovereignty. And in Iraq, explosions were heard, and there was a report of hits on the headquarters of pro-Iranian militias, with 3 unalived according to the local report. At the same time, an Iraqi organization identified with the Axis announced that it will begin attacking American bases within a short time, and the Houthis, Iran's proxies in Yemen, are also signaling a threat to renew attacks against ships in the Red Sea, and messages saying that expanding the attacks will lead to a broader confrontation. Here, it's very important to understand the Iranian logic as it is presented. An attempt to turn the campaign from an event of a combined strike against Iran into a regional campaign in which American bases in the Gulf are also under fire. In Iran, a sharp message came out: there are no red lines. A senior Iranian official said publicly that the response will continue and has no defined end time, that the options are broad and diverse, and that anything American or Israeli is now a legitimate target. He also added a direct threat: a strike on political leaders will not remain unanswered, and all political targets are now within the framework of the response. And at the same time, messages were also heard about intensive contacts with countries in this region in order to prevent a collapse of regional security. And while Iran is threatening, it is also issuing unusual messages to its own home front, its own people. An urgent call went out to the residents to leave Tehran and other cities in order to remain safe from additional attacks. It was also said that schools and universities will remain closed, government offices will work at half manpower, and the state is prepared to provide basic needs to prevent shortages. At the same time, there were reports of widespread disruptions in mobile phone services and of the continued closure of the airspace until further notice. And also in the Gulf, all the countries are closing their airspace and reducing the movement. Airlines are canceling, and aircraft in the air are looking for a window to land amidst the sirens. And what does the American side say? President Trump came out with a dramatic statement: we launched an attack on Iran with a clear objective to destroy the missile industry, strike the strategic capabilities, and ensure that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. He addressed the Iranian forces directly: lay down your weapons, or you will face certain death. He also said steps that were taken to reduce the chance of harm to the American forces in this region, but added explicitly there may be American casualties. And in another statement, he called on Iran citizens to stay in their homes during the bombings and presented the operation as a historic opportunity for them. On the Israeli side, it was said that the joint action was also intended to create conditions for the Iranian people to take their fate into their own hands. A message was voiced, speaking to different groups in Iran, calling on them to free themselves from the burden of tyranny. At the same time, on the ground, Israel is not taking its eyes off additional arenas. While all eyes are on Iran, there is heightened readiness in the north, on the Lebanese and on the Syrian border, with reserve forces and plans that are ready for deployment. The system is operating as if every arena could ignite. And within all of this, another unexpected element arrives: footage from Tehran showing a reaction of joy in the streets. People are filming themselves dancing, clapping, honking the cars, shouting freedom. And there is also footage of a woman saying from a rooftop that they hit the Supreme Leader's compound. This must be said carefully. This is footage that is spreading on social media networks. While there are efforts to cut communications, and therefore it is hard to know the scale, but The very appearance of these clips in the first hours became a symbol. And alongside that, there are also reports of tension on campuses and clashes with militias as part of an internal background that has been simmering for some time now. And now, to the line holding all the drama, was Khamenei eliminated? Right now, there is no final answer. There is a scenario that is being examined of severe damage to his compound, with concern of burial under the rubble. There are Iranian denials. There is also a report that he was moved to a hideout, and at the same time, there are Israeli assessments regarding the elimination of a very senior Revolutionary Guards figure, and there are reports of several senior officials that are unalived. Meaning, even if the biggest question is still open, the central axis is clear. This is a deep strike at Iran's top leadership and security infrastructure with American-Israeli coordination and with an Iranian response that is trying to ignite the whole region. In the security establishment, they assess that the campaign will not end quickly. There are those who say it may continue for at least a week and perhaps longer to complete handling the targets that were marked. On the other side, the Iranians say publicly there is no time limit to the response. And in that gap, every barrage, every interception, and every report of a strike on an American base in the Gulf can move the scale one more step forward. This event has not yet reached its peak, and the coming hours will determine whether this is a campaign expanding into a full regional arena or remaining focused around Iran and the launches towards Israel. We stay here with every update because the question of the leadership's fate in Tehran is still open, and the response on the ground is only beginning. So, keep spreading the truth, share, follow us. Most importantly, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another update from us, Yair Pinto and Mati Shoshani. Look for us on social media to receive ongoing updates on a daily basis. And this war broke out again between Israel and Iran for, I think, the third time in the last 2 years. And across Israel, families are running to bomb shelters, including my own. Children are hearing sirens instead of school bells. Soldiers are leaving their homes to defend their nation. This is real. This is happening now. And Israel needs you right now, because the Bible calls us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And today, that means urgent, bold, faithful prayer. It also means action. Israel must know that millions of followers of God, believers in the Bible, are standing with us, not just in words, but in action, in support. So TBN is calling on you to step up to stand with Israel. Your gift helps bring truth from the ground, spiritual strength to believers, and real support in a time of war. You can go now to tbn.org/standwithisrael. Again, that's tbn.org/standwithisrael, and support Israel during this time. Do not wait. Do not assume that somebody else will respond. Be the one who stands up. Again, that's tbn.org/standwithisrael. This is how we can bring you these videos, these updates, so that you will know how to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. So let's pray now for the peace of Jerusalem. And let's continue with the report. Iranian missiles were launched in recent hours towards the American bases in Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. Defense systems were activated, interceptions were carried out, but in Bahrain and in Abu Dhabi, there were also reports of impacts and missile debris. In Abu Dhabi, a foreign civilian was unalived by shrapnel, and in Dubai, residents were evacuated from the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building, following the echoes of the explosions. The question now is sharp. Did Iran deliberately expand the campaign in order to drag the United States into a full regional confrontation? Or is it trying to create a deterrence equation before the next wave of strikes hits the heart of the regime in Tehran? Let me know what you think in the comments. Operation Lion's Roar began minutes before 8 in the morning, a broad opening blow. a simultaneous strike on strategic targets and centers of government. The first hit was aimed at air defensive arrays in order to create superiority in the skies, and immediately afterwards, command and control arrays of the Revolutionary Guards, the army, and internal security bodies were struck. In the security establishment, they described a pre-planned order of operations. Stage 1, breaking the defensive layer. Stage 2, striking the political and the leadership to undermine stability. Stage 3, a race against time to strike the ballistic missile infrastructure. That stage is already on its way. In western Iran, operatives from the surface-to-surface missiles and the unit were identified arming a launcher and preparing it for immediate launch towards Israel. A rapid close of the loop was carried out, and the launcher and the forces were struck, and the launch was foiled. And at the same time, an advanced air defensive system of the SA-65 type was struck in the Karmenashach area. The goal is clear: to reduce the pace of barrages towards Israel and towards the American bases and oil facilities in the Gulf. In Israel, the assessment is growing that the damage to the leadership is deep, and security officials are speaking of cautious optimism regarding harm to the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. According to those officials, there are signs that he was terminated, but as of this hour, as of now, there is no final confirmation, and he is out of contact. And at the same time, Iran claims that senior officials, including the army commander Amir Khatami and Muhammad Bagher Galadaf, are safe and sound. And Iran's foreign minister said that several senior officials may have been unalived, but claimed that it is not a big problem. And at the same time, Iranian agencies are reporting thousands of unalived and wounded in the Revolutionary Guards at the bases across the country of Iran. The Americans are not hiding. President Trump confirmed that Washington's involvement is full and defined the move as a major operation. A senior American official said that the strikes in Tehran are expected to be broader than the waves that we saw last year. Here enters Khamenei's miscalculation. For months, tense negotiations were conducted. Tehran stalled for time. It enriched uranium to high levels while making declarations about peaceful goals and a fatwa against nuclear weapons. And at the same time, it continued to build the axis of resistance: Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, entrenchment in Syria, and the Houthis in Yemen, who struck shipping routes and harmed the economies of Jordan and Egypt. The assumption in Tehran was that the United States would not go all the way, that the pressure would remain economic and also diplomatic, that the threat would remain in the air, theoretical. This morning it became clear that that assessment was wrong. The open alignment between Israel and the United States created a new reality. The Gulf states are armed with advanced American systems, and some operate advanced fighter jets of the F-15EX type. And despite that, they found themselves a direct target of an Iranian attack. Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates condemned sharply and clarified that they reserved the right to respond. The airspace over the Gulf was closed, and dozens of flights were cancelled. In practice, Iran also damaged its own chances of maintaining quiet support in the Gulf. Attacking American bases on their soil pulls them into a confrontation that they did not publicly seek. In the coming week, the campaign is expected to deepen. The Israeli and the American air forces will continue striking missile infrastructures, defensive arrays, and command sites. And at the same time, an expansion of the strikes deeper into Tehran is possible. The Americans are already signaling broad waves. In Israel, we are preparing for continued fire. Sirens are being heard in the north, in the center, and in the Dead Sea area. The Airports Authority stopped takeoffs and landings. The Home Front Command updated the instructions. The operational logic is clear: to rapidly wear down Iran's ability to launch, strike, and carry out attacks against the general public and to increase the pressure against the regime. On a Persian language channel of the Mossad, the Israeli spy agency, an appeal was published to the Iranian public to restore Iran to its days of glory and to share documentation against the regime. This campaign is not only militarily, it is also a psychological and a political battle. Khamenei, who was wounded in an assassination attempt in 1981 and whose right hand has been paralyzed since, built over 47 years a tight alliance with the Revolutionary Guards and turned them into the backbone of his rule. He led a vision of Israel's destruction by 2040, placed a countdown clock in the square of Tehran, and deepened Iran's grip on arenas all around Israel. But this morning, that order cracked. If the strikes continue at the current pace, and if the damage to the top leadership is confirmed, Iran may find itself more isolated than ever before, facing an open and powerful coalition, and with a Shiite axis that has taken blows in recent years. The coming hours will determine whether this is the only beginning of a wider, week-long campaign or the opening of an even broader regional confrontation. And do they understand in Tehran that this is no longer just another round, but a real attempt to change the rules of the game? What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. We do not know, but we are prepared for every kind of scenario. So we will continue to spread the truth. You can help us by sharing our content with as many people as possible, by clicking the subscribe button, and by praying for the situation. And if you want to support our work here at TBN Israel to keep us on the ground, sharing you all the updates, make sure to go to www.tbn.org/standwithisrael. Again, that's tbn.org/standwithisrael. Make sure to give us a like, leave us a comment, and do we have a report from Samuel Smadja, TBN Israel director, that is coming up now? I'm receiving updates that we have a report from Samuel Smadja. Is that correct?
Shalom from Jerusalem. As we all know, we're in the midst of a war. America and Israel just attacked Iran, and from the morning we're in and out the bomb shelters. So first of all, I want to thank you all for your prayers, your love and your support. This is the time that we need to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. This is the time that we need to pray for the American soldiers flying and bombing Iran. May God protect them, protect the Israeli army and the American army, that they will all of them will come back safe. You know, it's very debatable. We hear again and again in the different channels in America that maybe Trump had to give more time for, or more opportunity for this agreement, this peace agreement. I don't know if you know, I was born in Israel. I grew up all my life here. And negotiation in the Middle East is not always like a negotiation that you are all experiencing in the West. To my opinion, Iran, a regime that was willing to kill 35,000 people, of their own people, just because they were seeking for freedom, they were seeking for human rights, they were seeking for some freedom to walk on the streets, they killed them on the streets. A regime like that had no intention for a real negotiation. Their plan to destroy Israel is a plan that goes for the last 40 years. They were never going to stop their nuclear facilities, programs. They were never would stop the long-range missiles, because they have one thing in mind: to destroy Israel, and after that to destroy America. To destroy the small devil Israel, and then to come after the big devil America. I'm so happy and so thankful for the White House, so thankful for the President Trump and the leadership in the White House to understand and to see through this lie of the regime of the Ayatollahs in Iran. This war is a just war. This war is a war that will free the people of Iran. This war is a war that will bring a new era in the Middle East. I believe that we're in the last chapter of the end times. I don't want to say how long we have, but I definitely believe that we're in the last era. And we know that the spiritual warfare in the last era will be just bigger and bigger and bigger. And we have to understand who we are fighting. We're fighting against the devil himself, who sees that his time is getting shorter, who understand the times and the season we're living in. But the spirit of Amalek did not stop chasing the people of Israel. The same evil spirit is still trying to destroy the people of Israel. We're 3 days before the Feast of Purim, and I don't know if you remember, but Esther, the Queen Esther, demanded the people to pray, to fast for 3 days. So I'm asking you to pray, and those who are willing to fast for the protection of the U.S. Army, for the protection for the Israeli Army, for the protection of the people of Israel, and for the freedom of the people of Iran. Let us celebrate again the Feast of Purim, a feast of victory, a feast of the faithfulness of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Let us pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Let us fast and pray for the safeness of the people of Israel, for the peace of Israel.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Samuel Smadja, TBN Israel Director. And thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you first of all, for seeking the truth. Thank you for uniting in prayer for God's will. Thank you for praying for the Iranian people. Thank you for praying for all the servicemen and women, the sailors, the pilots, the intelligence soldiers, officers of the IDF and of the United States military, Navy, Air Force. Thank you for risking your lives. Let's also pray for the families of all those that are here defending all of us. We know that God is in control. He has a plan. He placed Israel here. He brought us back after 2,000 years of exiles, and he will protect us now. But this is not just about Israel. This is a spiritual war between good and evil. The Ayatollah regime, the Islamic Republic of Iran, is chanting death to Israel, but also death to America. They are calling Israel the small Satan and the United States of America the big Satan. This is a spiritual war. Again, the only way that I know how to fight a spiritual war is by praying. And thank God that God is listening and is performing biblical level miracles today. All these missiles that were intercepted, it's not because we have so strong and smart army. It's because God is protecting us again and again against all odds. The Islamic Republic of Iran, it's a nation of 92 million people. Israel has 10 million. We are still here. They're shaking. They're afraid. Because it's better to be with God on your side against the whole world than to be with the whole world against God. So keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem. Stand with our forces here. And we'll be right back with more updates on the ground. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We are TBN Israel on YouTube. I'm Yair Pinto. With me was Shoshani and Samuel Smadja. Keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem.